So what's up, guys? We got some breaking news that we all knew was going to happen, and it's in reference to the murder of Tupac Shakur. It's been almost 30 years, guys, and a guy who was previously known to be involved with it, Keefe D, has been formally charged by the prosecutor in Clark County in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, this thing is weird because Keefe D confessed to this back in 2009. LAPD detective Greg Kading, which you guys may have heard about, he's been all over YouTube and he's been doing interviews working with Mob James and Vladtv, and he tells a story about the proffer agreement that was made to Keefe D way back in 2009. Now, Mr. Duane Davis, also known as Keefe D, is 60 years old, and he was known to be affiliated with Puff Daddy, also Southside Crips, who he claims to be a general within the Southside Crips. I'm not saying that he is or he isn't, but that's what he claims, and that he basically ordered the hit on Tupac Shakur via his nephew, Orlando Anderson, also known as Baby Lane. Now, before I get more into this story, I'm gonna go ahead and play the clip from who I believe is the prosecutor in this case against Keefe D. Let's go ahead and play it.
A Clark County grand jury has indicted Duane Keefe Davis with 1 count of open murder with use of a deadly weapon with a gang enhancement. Davis will appear in court in the next few days or so for a hearing to determine his custody status and to set a jury trial date. This grand jury has been receiving evidence for months and has determined there is sufficient evidence to justify the filing of this criminal indictment. I've assigned 2 of my top prosecutors, Mark DiGiacomo and Banu Palal, to prosecute this case. I know a lot of people have been watching and waiting for this day. Tupac Shakur is a music legend, and for a long time, this community and worldwide have been wanting justice for Tupac. Today, we are taking that first step. Tupac was actually quoted as saying, "Death is not the greatest loss in life. The greatest loss is what dies inside while still alive. Never surrender." Well, we didn't surrender thanks to the great work of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department under the leadership of Sheriff Kevin McMahill, Lieutenant Johansson, retired Detective Cliff Mogg. I am proud to announce the return of this document. This is the indictment we've been waiting almost 3 decades for. It spells out the facts and circumstances and what justifies a Clark County grand jury in returning an indictment. Justice will be served. Thank you.
Now, you guys may have remembered back in around July 17th, if I'm not mistaken, Keefe D's house was raided out there in Henderson, and they confiscated laptops, phones, other electronic devices, and I believe some pistols in there as well. And at that point, it was kind of like, okay, why is it after all this time are they raiding this guy's place? He's been publicly making statements saying that he was involved, even though he wasn't the shooter. He implicated his nephew, Orlando Anderson, in this situation. And he's been walking around since 2009. This is quite a long time, admitting that he did something and wrote a book, doing all these interviews, getting paid, profiting off of Tupac's death. And why is it just now that this is happening? It's quite strange, and some people are also wondering, how is he getting charged with this even though he wasn't the admitted shooter? So I'm gonna go ahead and play that clip of the prosecutor.
Vanessa.
Thank you. Vanessa Murphy, Channel 8. Steve, can you talk about the murder charge if he is not the one believed to have pulled the trigger?
Yes, well, under Nevada law, and this is the law in most states in this country, you can be charged with a crime whether you're directly involved or whether you're an aider and abetter. We have an aiding and abetting statute, which provides that if you help somebody commit a crime, you can be equally as guilty. The best example is 2 guys that agree to commit a bank robbery, and one of them goes into the bank with a gun and actually commits the robbery, and the other guy is the getaway driver. Never went in the bank, but he assisted the guy that went in the bank, so he's equally guilty. That is one of the theories in this case as well.
So as you guys already know, you crime sleuths, so just maybe as common knowledge, There's no statute of limitations on murder. And just because you didn't pull the trigger, if you were involved in any sort of conspiracy or you put the hit out, you're going to get charged with the same crime. That's just how it goes with that, robbery, whatever. And this is what happened with Keefe D, because he's admitted to it. And even though he had this proffer agreement with LAPD in reference to an unrelated case with something involved, because Keefe D was supposedly a big drug lord way back in the day. He made this proffer agreement. He was facing 25 years at the time. So during this proffer agreement, he didn't know that he was being recorded. Greg Kading, who's the famous detective from LAPD, had recorded Keefe D basically saying what happened. It was Orlando Anderson. He was in the vehicle with some other individuals, and his nephew was the one who pulled the trigger, which some people said that he snitched on his dead nephew. It's still considered snitching. But Keefe D said he did it because he saved a lot of people in the process that were going down because of the drugs. So this man is 60 years old, and who would have thought? He always says, damn. I was like, damn. And I bet that's what he's saying like now. Damn.
Yeah.
Like, damn. Like, damn. Like, damn. Like, damn. Yeah, like, damn. Damn.
They get me at 60 years old after all this time, you know, Southside Crips. And he said he a Southside Crip till he dies or whatever. So on that fateful night, September 7th, if you guys remember, back in 1996, Tupac and other death row affiliates, Suge Knight and his bodyguards or affiliates, Mob Piru, were attending the Mike Tyson fight that night. After the fight, they were going to Club 662, which is Suge Knight's club, if I'm not mistaken. And they had already stumped out Orlando because basically a Mob Piru named Trayvon Lane told Tupac these were the guys who tried to rob me of my death row chain, with him seeing Baby Lane, Orlando Anderson, in the elevator. So Tupac, which he shouldn't have did anyway, everybody knows he's an artist. He took off on the guy, and everybody else basically stumped him out along with Suge, and that's why Suge violated his probation. His probation at this time, and along with other Mob Pirus, stumped out Orlando Anderson. Orlando Anderson was heavy in the hood. He was a real gangster, really about that. He went and told his uncle, and obviously Keefe D's got connections out in Vegas. They had a rental car, and they went to Club 662 waiting for Tupac, and they didn't show up at the time, so they happened to find them on the strip on Flamingo in Vegas, and pulled up beside him and opened fire, hit Tupac 4 times, hit Suge, where it grazed him in the head, and they sped off, stashed the gun, repainted the car, and turned it back into the rental car agency, the Cadillac. And that was that. And he knew this information all this time. Everybody else, he's the only living person that was in the car that night. Orlando Anderson, in a totally unrelated situation, he was killed like a year and a half later. And that's how that went. But he was basically going around bragging about the situation. The agreement they had nothing to do with him telling this stuff. So if he would have kept quiet, he would have been fine, because it was just used in that proffer agreement. But he decides to talk about it, write about it, brag about it, and all these things like that, which just wasn't a good idea. He was like, after all this time, they're not gonna come after me. And I think Keefe D, he really just started popping up in interviews like 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. But he's in interviews all over the place bragging about it, making light of it. And he basically was like, Tupac should have minded his business. You're a rapper. He said this in a lot of his interviews, and he got what was coming to him. He's not a gangster. Hey, 60 years old, Keefe D, they came after you. I'm pretty sure somebody had to tell you. I'm pretty sure Greg Kading probably pulled your coattail in. But there's something about attention. When people get attention and they're getting a little money or whatever, and I felt like I got away with it, they ain't coming after me. You got to realize a prosecutor, regardless of what's going on, sometimes they can wake up and just say, I just want to prosecute this guy. This happened within my jurisdiction. Let's go ahead and go after this guy. And whatever they found in the house, regardless of everything else, they're making the case so easy. They found some stuff in the house. He's got all these taped interviews where he's confessing to what happened. Even though he didn't pull the trigger, he was there. He basically said in his book, I believe, that he called the shots for Tupac to be taken out. And that's enough. That's conspiracy right there. And you were part of it. I don't know, man. Hey, it is what it is. This is no, I think Vlad once said this is the worst kept secret ever about this happened. It just took them this long to prosecute this guy. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Comment below. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit me up on Linktree to book a one-on-one with yours truly. Purchase all my books, merch, t-shirts. Helps to support the channel. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. With that being said, much blessings and abundance. Stick around for the next video that's going to pop up below. That's where I'm going to see you guys at. It's your favorite everything. This is Wisdom. I'm out of here. Peace.
Yeah.
50 Cent.
50. Part 2.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
Can't forget Tony.
50.
UK.